Welcome to Rock Talks. Today we're talking to Will Carroll, drummer from the Bay Area thrash metal band Death Angel. He told us his whole story about overcoming Covid-19 and how it actually helped improve even more his drumming skills. Also, we discussed the band's Grammy nomination for Best Metal Performance last year. Hello, Will. How are you? Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Rock Talks.
Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. So let's get right into it. Everybody knows that you are one of the few survivors of this COVID pandemic all over the world. So what do you say if we start telling everybody your experience with this terrible disease?
Okay, you just want me to tell the story?
Yeah, right from the beginning, from the first symptoms, and how did you get into the hospital?
We were on tour. Death Angel were on tour with Testament and Exodus in Europe for the Bay Strikes Back tour.
Yeah.
And things were going great. And by the end of the tour, like the last 2 weeks of the tour, people started getting sick, and there were a few people sick on our tour bus. And by the last couple of days of the tour, I started feeling under the weather, and I wasn't sure if it was just tour fatigue after being on the road for like 6 weeks or however long it was. Then the last show got canceled, and by the time we got to the airport and on the plane home, I started feeling really sick. On the flight home is when I started getting concerned. And by the time I got home and got to my apartment, my fiance just saw me and was like, "Wow, you look terrible and you sound terrible." And I went straight to bed and tried to nurse myself back to health for a couple of days, and it just got progressively worse. And I was struggling to breathe by that last day, and she had to rush me to the hospital. And like, I don't remember any of that. I was totally out of it. I had a really bad fever, and I was just kind of delirious. And so I don't remember going to the hospital at all. But when I got there, they realized I had COVID and pneumonia, and they had to put me on a ventilator. In order to do that, they had to put me in a medically induced coma. And I was in a coma for 12 days, and here I am.
So I was saying that, yeah, you were in ICU in a coma for 12 days. And actually, doctors say that it was a miracle for you to survive. So how do you explain that?
Well, I mean, I explained the hard work of all the doctors and nurses and hospital staff. They saved my life, and they used the right combination of experimental drugs and procedures, and I was just lucky. They were trying it on lots of other people who didn't make it through, and I just got lucky. It was the right combination of everything, and that's the main part of it. I also think the small part of the story is just all my friends and family and fans across the world just pulling together and praying for me and lighting candles for me. And I just think all of that collective energy played a small part in my recovery as well. So there's definitely a spiritual side to all of this, along with the medical side, science side.
Of course. And do you actually remember anything about being in the hospital?
I mean, during the coma, I mean, like I know, I mean, I had crazy dreams when I was in my coma, and I remember those very vividly. But like I said, I don't remember going to the hospital. So when I woke up, I was really confused. I had no idea where I was. And once I realized I was in a hospital, I had no idea what city or country I was in. And uh, I didn't I didn't remember coming home from the tour. I thought I was still on tour. So I thought I was somewhere in Europe maybe. And it was just really confusing. I didn't even it didn't even occur to me that maybe I had COVID and that's why I was there. I thought maybe something happened on tour and I got into an accident. I had no idea, So I was just assuming all these things and making things up in my head why I was there, and they wouldn't tell me why I was there for at least a day or two. They didn't want to, I guess, put me into shock, so they didn't tell me I was in a coma for almost 2 weeks until like a day or two after I woke up. and just like they wouldn't tell me where I was either. So it was kind of scary that first day, not really knowing anything and just having so many questions. But once they told me I was in San Francisco, I was very relieved. And then I realized I was in a hospital that's like 5 minutes away from where I live. So I could have walked home if I wanted to. So that was a big relief.
Mhm. Talking about crazy dreams, according to a Loudwire report, you
All
said that you
lies.
actually
All
visited
lies. No, I'm kidding.
hell and met Satan. Was that true?
Um, what was the question? I'm sorry, I was making a joke. Go ahead.
According to a Loudwire report, you said that you visited hell and actually met Satan. Was that true, or you were joking
I
around?
mean, that's what I saw. I don't know how real it was, or but that's the vision I had. That's the dream I had. Going to hell, and Satan was a woman, and yeah, no,
Like the
no
movie.
surprise there. No, I'm just kidding. And
I agree.
yeah, I was this really gigantic blob of a creature, kind of like Jabba the Hutt. It was really frightening, and I was throwing up blood, and I puked blood until I had a heart attack, and then I died in hell, and then my spirit, or I was already dead, whatever. I collapsed in hell, and my spirit went to heaven, and that was just as scary. The angels were really aggressive and fierce, and it wasn't a very welcoming place. So the whole thing was a drag, and I didn't like being in hell or heaven. And yeah, when I woke up, those visions were still burned in my memory. They still are. I could draw. I could do if I was an artist, I'd be able to do a pretty kick-ass cartoon to it because I have the memory. Just it's so vivid.
Maybe you can use that really vivid dream as an inspiration for a Death Angel song.
Yeah,
Lyrics.
maybe, man. Maybe if Mark runs out of material, I could definitely throw him some stuff.
Or maybe a CD cover for the next album. Who knows?
Maybe. I'm sure I don't know about my specific ordeal, but I'm sure the whole COVID situation is going to work its way into the lyrics on the next album. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah. Are there any sequels, health sequels, any lung damage?
Any lung damage?
Yeah.
No, I recovered. I had heart failure too during the coma, so that was the big issue. My heart took some damage, but after a couple of months of just laying low and taking it easy and trying to live a healthier lifestyle, my heart recovered completely. My last checkup with my doctor, they said my heart was fine, and my lungs didn't take that much damage. Surprisingly, it was my heart that took the brunt of the attack, but everything's recovered, and I don't have any lingering effects. Surprisingly, I'm very lucky. I've been playing drums, and I'm not getting winded, or I don't feel any weird sensations. So I'm doing okay.
Mm-hmm. Can you play drums as usual, as like before this COVID thing?
Oddly enough, I'm playing drums better than I ever have in my life right now. It's really strange. Maybe because I'm not drinking as much as I used to. I'm just not partying, or I'm taking care of myself a lot more nowadays. So that probably plays a big part in it. And I'm taking drumming a lot more seriously because after I got out of the hospital, I couldn't walk. I had to learn how to walk again. So
Really?
that was the most scariest aspect of this whole thing, was not being able to walk. And I was just really concerned that I wouldn't be able to drum, especially do double bass. That I wouldn't be able to do double bass again. So I had a therapist come over for a few weeks, and I just did my exercises and stair stepping and stuff like that. And I was able to walk within like a week after being in the hospital. They thought it was going to take maybe a month, but I was able to walk like a week and a week and a half. Maybe I was on my feet and walking without any assistance. So I was pretty determined, and just I worked hard. I didn't waste any time. on that in that aspect. So just now that I don't take my health for granted. I don't take my drumming for granted either now. So I'm practicing more, and I just have more speed, and I'm just playing with more determination and more focus. And the guys in Death Angel have totally noticed that. We did a live stream for Christmas like a month ago. We did 2 shows for our annual Christmas shows, and they noticed that I was just playing with a new sense of urgency and just more power and more consistent. So that's definitely the silver lining in all of this. I'm taking the good out of this, and just being healthier and playing drums more efficiently is what I'm all about right now.
So is it safe to say that you are practicing a new lifestyle after this experience? Like you are more healthy, you don't drink more, you eat healthier, more vegetables and stuff, right?
Absolutely. I still do drink. I'm not trying to say I've gone cold turkey, and I'm not putting down people who drink or anything. I still drink, but way less. I mean, I was drinking quite a bit on that last tour. I was polishing off a bottle of Jameson a night, a big bottle. So I was at the worst I'd ever been with my drinking, and now I'm just pretty much just drinking wine at home. So I've definitely cut that down, and just the partying in general, I cut that out. And I'll let you use your imagination what that is. And yeah, I'm definitely eating better and just exercising a lot more. I'm going to the park like 2 or 3 times a week. I'm totally addicted to playing frisbee golf, if you know what that is. I'm totally addicted to that. So I'm playing that 2 or 3 days a week, and just going on walks and just doing things that I would never even have considered before all this happened. Like I wasn't into taking hikes or walks or being athletic at all before this happened. So this was a good thing in a very morbid way. This was a good thing, and I've lost some weight. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I was about to ask that you lose quite a few pounds after this.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now the trick is to keep it off.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So let's wrap this COVID chapter up. This is my last question for this part of the interview. What's your advice for those who don't want to wear a mask?
Man, I would say, believe what you want to believe, but it's a question of courtesy to other people. Like you may not believe in COVID, and like you think wearing a mask is silly, but it's just a question of being courteous to your fellow human beings and the people around you. Like if you're around people you care and love, I mean, you should wear a mask so you don't spread it or infect them. So it's just really it's just a really rude thing to do to not wear a mask, even if you think it's silly and you don't believe in it. You should, if you love the people you're around, you should wear one just for their consideration.
All right, I agree. So let's talk about music. Enough of this COVID nightmare. Let's go way back to 2009. How did you join the band in that year? How was the situation?
Okay. Mark approached me. Mark Ozageda, singer, he approached me, and I was at a show. I forget which show it was, but he walked up to me and just started asking me about drumming, and whoever we were watching, I think it was Carcass, actually. I think we were at a Carcass show, and he was just saying stuff like, "Oh, you could probably play that drum beat, right?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I love Carcass, and I'm familiar with all their songs." And he's like, he was just asking me about drumming, and I thought that was kind of odd. Like I've known Mark for years, and we've never really talked drums before, so that kind of put something in the back of my head that maybe there's something amiss with them and their drummer at the time. And then like a week or two later, it was either Ted or Mark. I think Ted, because Ted and I have been friends since high school. Ted messaged me that Andy's not working out and he might leave the band, or they might get rid of him or something. But he wasn't working out, and he just asked me if I would be interested in jamming with Death Angel if that happened, if Andy was no longer in the band. And I said, of course. And he just kind of put it in the back of my mind, like, like just brush up on your Death Angel and listen to the songs, and you might be getting a call or something like that. So that's what happened. Maybe a week later, Ted was like, yeah, Andy's out of the band. You want to come and jam? So I went in maybe a week after that, or a few days, I can't remember exactly, and I jammed with him once, and I never left the studio since.
All right. Well, they did a great choice with you. And tell me, how was the recording process of Relentless Retribution, your first album with Death Angel?
Very nerve-wracking. I was very nervous. Really, it was the first professional album I was ever going to record. I've put out albums with my other bands, but not at this level, So I was really nervous. I practiced as much as I could. And it was the first time I was ever recording to a click track, so that was kind of weird. So yeah, it was an odd situation, but I made the best of it, and we flew out to Florida and recorded at this place called Big Shot Studios in Sanford, Florida, and that's the studio where this Southern rock band Molly Hatchet, that's where they recorded all their big albums. So there were Molly Hatchet gold albums and posters and stuff all over the studio. And, it was the first time I met Jason Zukov, and he's a crazy guy. So it was an overwhelming experience, but I'm happy with the outcome. Each recording after that was a lot more fun and a lot more laid back because I was getting used to it. And, it's just the first time is always a weird, difficult thing. So it was fun, but nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Jason Zukov was the producer of Death Angel for the last 4 albums, right?
Right.
The guy is a genius as a producer, as a guitar player. But my question is he as crazy as he used to be? He's still crazy?
He's mellowed out a little bit. Bit.
Right.
But he's still a character. I love the guy,
Yeah, he's really funny.
Him and I message each other all the time about stupid stuff, Seinfeld, we're both Seinfeld nuts, so we're sending back and forth Seinfeld quotes and things like that. But and we both love death metal, so we like to riff on classic death metal, old school death metal. But yeah, he's mellowed out a little bit.
The age factor, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been working with him now for 10 years roughly. So when I first met him and on Relentless, he was still in his 20s, so now he's in his late 30s. So a lot happens throughout your 30s. You grow up a little bit. So
yeah,
he's grown up a little bit.
All right. Death Angel earned a Grammy nomination actually in 2020 for Humanicide, right?
Right.
How did you feel when you got the news about this incredible nomination?
It didn't seem real, I didn't really believe it until I started seeing certain websites were posting it and stuff. Then that's when I started sinking in. When I first got the message on my phone, I didn't believe it really. I was like, no way. And I mean, obviously it was exciting and it felt great, and it was an absolute honor to be a part of it.
But eventually Tool won, right? So
Yep.
do you think that was fair?
Well, of course I don't think it's fair. But I wasn't surprised. I think we all kind of knew that Tool was going to win. They're like the darlings of critics. Critics just love that band, and they're also they have a bigger fan base. They're way bigger than Death Angel. So yeah, we weren't surprised when we didn't win, but it was still fun to be there and fun to be a part of it for sure.
So are you guys working in a new album already?
Totally, yeah. Rob's already written two or three songs, and we're going back into the studio next week, as a matter of fact, to get to work. We want to get into the studio by the end of summer, and hopefully have a new album out early next year. So we are going to be getting into it for sure, and getting back to work for sure.
Is there any schedule already for recording?
No, nothing's set in stone, but we'd like to start recording by the end of summer.
You mean August?
Right, like June or August.
All right. Are there any touring plans? I know this question is kind of stupid because of COVID.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I gotta ask.
no, I mean, there's a lot of plans, but is it a reality? No. So we really can't do anything until the world opens up, and our hands are kind of tied, as every other band in the world. So yeah, nothing like that in the works. We have a lot of stuff on hold. Like we were going to do a Bass Strikes Back American leg and a second European leg. That was all in the works, but obviously that's not happening. So hopefully we'll be able to start that back up once everything opens back up. But it's just so uncertain right now. It's kind of pointless to make plans if you don't even know what the future holds. So we're waiting to see what happens, like everybody else.
Maybe September, October could be.
That's wishful thinking. Yeah, I mean, if that happens, fucking awesome, and we'll be on the road as soon as humanly possible. But do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't think touring is going to commence until next year. That's just I'm not hoping for that, but that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be realistic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe instead you can.
Instead of disappointing yourself and all your fans by announcing a tour, and you have to cancel it. So why go through all that trouble until we know 100% that we can tour and play the shows without any cancellations?
Maybe you can call it Screw COVID Tour 2022.
Yeah, I'm sure us and every other band in the world is going to do that.
Yeah. That's the easiest idea for sure.
Yeah.